here in Austin, Texas, brought to you by our great friends at Galatia Insurance Cactus Theater, H&H Trailers, which they trailer sales, which by the way, they've got a brand new website, H&H Trailers, hhtrailersales.com. You know, it's a family-owned business. I've been in business for over 35 years, and you can check out their entire inventory from horse trailers to cargo trailers, flatbed trailers, used trailers, utility trailers, and so many others. You can check out their entire inventory at hhtrailersales.com or give them a call at 806-744-1733. We are with State Representative Dustin Burrows. Let's talk about some issues facing the legislature. One of your colleagues who will be in coming up at 9 o'clock has been pushing for constitutional carry. And some of the gun bills, there are gun bills. You have your own dealing with license to carry and the fees for license to carry. Kind of talk about some of the gun legislation that's out there and where do you come down on some of the big legislation?
Sure. So, I mean, obviously, I think my bill is a great bill. It's a big bill, and it calls for the complete elimination of the fee for having a license to carry. What we've seen over in the Senate is they had originally started with the exact same bill, and they now are calling for a $40 fee on a license to carry. My bill calls for the complete elimination of it. I think that's the right path. I saw some comments made by Governor Abbott back in January. He called for the complete elimination. So, you know, certainly agree with the governor that we need to continue to fight for a zero fee on the LTC fee. And that bill has, I think, almost 50 co-authors. Mine does. And we're going to push for that in the House. I think it's good policy, and hopefully the House can take the lead on Second Amendment and show that as Texas, we shouldn't be charging for a constitutional right.
Let me play, I guess, devil's advocate here, or government advocate. Government's going to lose a lot of money on this, right?
So they say right now that the fiscal note on that could be anywhere between $5 and $10 million a year because of the processing if we were to cut it down to zero. At the end of the day, I think if you cut it down to zero, they're going to come to us and figure out a way to get it as close to nothing as anything. If you have a revenue stream, they're always going to find and justify a reason for it. You know, killing entitlements in D.C. is almost impossible, and killing revenue streams in Austin is almost impossible as well. But we should kill this one because it is a constitutional right. And I think at the end of the day, there's good ideas out there. I mean, why do we have a second license? Can we not just tie it to our driver's license? You know, I think there's cost savings there. You know, I know the gentleman you have on coming next, Representative Stickland, haven't actually read his bill and his definition of constitutional carry, but, you know, some people are saying, do we really need to go do the qualification and test? You know, I haven't spent a lot of time looking or thinking about that, hearing the arguments on it, but I think it deserves a debate. I think that's an interesting idea. But I think there's a lot of things that we can do to continue to make sure that people have the right to protect themselves. Because ultimately that's what the Second Amendment says is you have the right of self-defense and self-protection, and we shouldn't make it a revenue stream for the state of Texas.
Let me ask you about, we should have a debate. There are a lot of, there are some issues that are coming from the Senate that the Speaker and other members have said, hey, you know what, this isn't going to see the light of day, this is dead, it's not going to make it to the floor for debate. Is that the right way to handle it, or should, if something passes in the House, should the Senate hear it? If the Senate passes it, should it be debated on the floor of the House? You know,
that's an interesting question. I'm not afraid of, you know, being on the small side of a vote. I'm not afraid. I mean, I have been on the scoreboard, the 1-no vote before. You know, there's been opportunities for that. I don't mind debate and dissent and discussion. You know, I think that's what democracy was built on. I think that's a Humphrey quote, actually. Probably didn't do it justice. So, you know, look, if we have bills that make it to the House floor and they go down because there's not enough votes there, you know, let everybody see it. That doesn't necessarily offend me. But, you know, to your point, at the same time, I mean, I look around, I don't think school choice has the votes in the House. And so with a short calendar, if, you know, leadership says, why are we going to suck up a day or two of time when the votes aren't there on that, we can get to something else, you know, I think that's also a time management thing. So, you know, I can understand the idea of it, but at the same time, it's democracy in action.
We're visiting with State Representative Dustin Burrows in